Smile for the camera, y'all.
Hey, hey, hey. How you
Hey, hey,
doing?
hey.
How's everybody this evening?
We are live and we want to say welcome to Think Outside the Red Box, where we are here every Monday at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. So come on in, join in the conversation, talk to us. Let's talk. Let's have some conversations tonight. I want to say hello to my co-hosts, Michael and Dion. How are y'all doing tonight?
Peace. We hanging in there, that's for sure.
Mike,
Doing
what's
good.
going on? You having a good Monday?
I'm having a good Monday. Happy MLK Day to everybody. I got the COVID shot this morning, the first one. Yeah,
What?
yeah,
Michael,
yeah. I went on ahead and got it. Wait a minute.
why? Okay, this ain't got nothing to do with boxing with God, but I need to know why. Why did you get the COVID shot?
Let's see. How can I say this in a very educated way? Because I don't want COVID no more.
That don't mean you're not gonna get COVID.
Oh Lord.
Did you
Look,
think that
okay,
meant you wasn't gonna get COVID?
Are you an anti-vaxxer?
I am an anti-vaccine person when it comes to COVID and the flu shot. You cannot get me to get that flu shot for nothing in the world. Okay, that's first off. But COVID, I have kept my mouth shut, but you opened the door.
What can I close it? I didn't get it. All right, so moving on.
No, no. I have to say this. I have to. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. People, y'all do what y'all want to do, but Angelina is not getting that COVID shot. I'm gonna just sit back and wait and see what happens to y'all. But I'm gonna pray to my God because I don't box with God. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep praying to my God that my co-host does not get COVID, and that COVID vaccine does not have any adverse effects on him. That's my prayer today, tonight, forever. Okay, because I don't know about that vaccine.
Well, I mean, it's having an effect. I mean, I woke up in a chicken coop. You know, boy, I'm quoting Friday, girl. I'm quoting Friday.
I know. That's too funny. Welcome, y'all. Thank you for joining us. So it's been a week. Any good news? Anything you want to share about what happened to you last week or what's going on? Anything you want to tell the people?
No, it was a good
No?
week. No, it was a great week. We made my announcement last week. I'm good. I'm good.
Would you say you straight, Michael?
I'm straight. You know, I'm just counting down the days now.
Uh-oh, Dion, we lost you.
I'm back. What day you
Oh,
got?
here.
What day you getting married, Michael? What y'all made plans for when y'all gonna do this, tie this big knot?
Yes, we have circled May 29th, 2030 as the date.
Huh?
That I
May
mean, we still need
29th?
time. We still need time to learn each other. So I think another about 9 years we learn each other, right?
Michael, you was that excited for 9 years? Get out of here. You better tell me something else. Cause that sound like you in a chicken coop for real. I need to hear something else. Cause that don't even sound right. That don't even didn't sound right coming out your mouth. But okay.
No, May 29th, the weekend Memorial Day.
This
This
May
year,
21.
2020.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Are you guys having a big wedding or just something private?
No, we want to invite our family, and both our families are pretty big. We got some families. Angelina has a wonderful mom that definitely will get an invitation. We have some other people that we
Nice.
need to invite. Oh, I did have another thing. Last night, man, I heard
Uh-oh.
I gotta
Uh-oh.
no, I gotta say it.
Somebody
Hey,
said you lying.
oh Lord, there ain't nobody but my sister Mary. Um uh Tamika Davis. Wow, she did an excellent show last night. I was listening to some of the things. The young lady, if she's listening tonight, Tamika was just so meek and humble. I believe her heart is in the right place. She has just an excellent spirit, and she just want women to just excel and be the best they could be. And I just wanted to give a shout out to her. I was listening to her pray and encourage ladies everywhere, and I just thought it was wonderful. So I just wanted to say that.
That's beautiful. That is wonderful. So I've had some bittersweet happens over the week. I do want to share some good news. One of my good news is that I have officially out of the woods, and my trademark is mine for becoming the
Yeah.
name and
Yeah.
the logo, y'all. So, you got to go through a
Yes.
process of getting trademarks, and it's quite a bit of a process. And when I started it, they said, oh, the process can take anywhere from 18 months to 2 years. I'm like, dang, for a trademark. So I actually submitted my stuff in June, and everything just was the paperwork, everything was just going smoothly. And then they have to put in an ad. That's how they do everything when you do stuff, and they had to put in a legal paper. Thank you, Joy. And um 30 days, no objections. It's all mine, y'all. So becoming a bee, it is on its way. We are about, well, we were already doing big things, but I'm just saying some of these, that's a big milestone to have your trademark and know that it's done. It's done. And it didn't take no 18 and a half months to 2 years to get it done. So I just thank you all for, ride with me on this journey, because I started this journey with just actually with a book club. Started this journey with a book club. We just, me and some ladies got together, and we were going to do some personal development and support each other. And it turned into me writing a book, which turned into me teaching classes. Then pandemic shut me down, and it turned into me just getting on Facebook and doing some Facebook lives. And that was my only intentions. And next thing you know, here we are. We've got Think Outside the Red Box. I got two of the best co-hosts ever. Got my trademark. Got some T-shirts coming. So y'all, 2021 is gonna be great. Now, my sad news: we have lost a great man today. Dion and us, and all of my Overflow family, my hearts are with you. I'm mourning with you. I know I'm on here talking as if nothing ever happened, but trust and know and trust and believe that, I'm mourning too. We lost our pastor, Pastor Michael Rucker. He was a great man. He was a giving man. He was an honorable man. He was, oh my God, a biblical man. And he opened up those scriptures, and he was just so kind. He opened up his heart, his home. He fed you. His food was good too. I just don't even know what to say about Pastor Mike. It's a great loss today. But we know he's in a good place. We love you, Pastor Mike, and we are
Yeah.
here tonight. We thought, like, how can we go on? How can we do this tonight? Is that even fair to him to do this? And I heard something say, Pastor Mike would want you to. Pastor Mike is all about God. Pastor Mike was all about, doing the right thing, and anything that was going to glorify God, then you need to do it. So we're here tonight, and we're going to talk about don't box with God. That's our topic tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. Dion, any nice words you want to say about our lovely Pastor Mike?
Yeah. Hopefully I don't start crying, but I think about him the last time he and I talked, and he said, "Is this Dion Coates?" He called me by my whole name. I said, "Yep, this is Dion Coates," and he wanted me to do a job for him and wanted me to deliver some gift boxes to a couple ladies in the church, the mothers of the church. It just spoke to the giver that he is. He's always given and always wanted the church to give. So I was reminded of the last time that he asked me to do something for him. I said, Pastor Mike, I'll be glad to do that for you. I said, no problem. And I remember him, and one of the things y'all, Overflow family, might remember when Pastor Mike would say, "Is that right, y'all?" I keep on hearing him say, "Is that right, y'all?" When he be preaching, "Is that right, y'all?" And I just been hearing him say it. It just kind of brought a smile to my face. But heart is, like you said, Angelina, full. We're gonna miss Pastor Mike. We're gonna miss all that he brings to the table. Um, a word scholar indeed, a giver of
Mhm.
life. He helped so many young people, so many young men. He's mentored and fathered along the way, even though he didn't have any natural children. His home, just a great man, full of life and full of the gift of giving. If anybody knew how to give, he was one of those givers. So I can be a giver just like him. So we miss you, Pastor Mike. We want to say rip and rest in peace, my dear brother. So glad we have the opportunity to meet on this side, and we'll see you again in glory.
Absolutely. You couldn't beat Pastor Mike Given. I'm just sorry. You couldn't beat him Given. So Dion was having technical difficulties, but we're gonna move on. We're gonna go ahead and get to our topic of the day. Don't box with God. So this came about because this is the month of Exodus. That's our theme for the month of is Exodus, and thinking about your exit plan and thinking about um, exiting the life you didn't want to get to the life that you always desired and imagined. And this was based and birthed out of course, the story of Exodus in Israel, wanting to get from underneath Pharaoh, and God leading sending Moses to lead them out of Egypt and into the promised land. However, on this journey, there were some issues. There was some problems. And Israel kept murmuring and complaining, and that angered God. That angered him. And it caused them to be in the wilderness for 40 years. Um, and some of them never made it to Canaan land. They never made it to the promised land because they were too busy murmuring and complaining, not realizing and appreciating what God had done for them. I mean, after all, you were enslaved by Pharaoh, and he was working y'all like the Hebrew slaves that you were, and you wanted to get from out from underneath him, and you prayed to God and you prayed to God, and you wanted him to save you, and he did, but yet you were still not happy. So I want to talk about that tonight. I want to talk about the fact that we ask God for things, and when he gives us what we ask for, we're still not happy. We're still not satisfied. We still got so much to complain about. We still got so much murmuring. Why? Why is that? Why do we continue to not trust in God that He's going to give us the things that we want when we align with, give us the things that we need. And if we align with Him, we'll get the things that we want, that we don't take into account all the things that He has done for us and that He takes care of us. Why do we continue to murmur and complain even though God comes through for us each and every time? Talk to me.
I think sometimes, Angelina, we don't really believe. I think we say it with our mouths, and we try to confess it, that kind of fake it till you make it thing. I think a lot of times we faking it until we making it. We're not really understanding what the word of God is saying and what God is really trying to bring us out of and bring us into. So we allow ourselves to, say those good things that sound good, scripturally are things that we've heard from others or other pastors say, but not really know the word of God for ourselves. So that's why we wind up in trying to get to Canaan and wind up in the wilderness for so long, because we want God to deliver us, but we don't want to do the work that it's going to take to get out of the wilderness. It's going to cost us something. And a lot of times we don't want to pay the price. We just want it. We just want God to deliver us. We want our exodus. We want to be delivered, but we don't want to do the work. That's why you hear Iyanla Van Zant say a lot of times, and I didn't understand for a while she would say, do the work, do the work. But until you have to do the work, and you realize that you've been wandering around that mulberry bush or wandering around the wilderness for 30, 40 years and you haven't been delivered, it's because you're not doing your work. We need to stop boxing with God and get our work done. God is going to meet us when we meet ourselves and decide, okay, it's time out for playing, and it's time for me to come face to face with that man in the mirror, Michael Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
a good friend. When it's time for us, because your good friend had a revelation. I don't even know if you recognize the revelation that he had until we really take a good look at that man or that woman in the mirror, and we stop telling them lies and tell them the truth and get that work done so that we can go to Canaan and inherit the land filled with milk and honey, because it's there for us. We don't have to die and our children inherit it. We can actually inherit it. We just have to make that 180 turn and decide we're going to do that work and allow that work to work its work in us so that God can be glorified and give us that milk and honey that we so desire.
Well, I think naturally it seems like with even in psychology, we tend to really hold on to the negative more so than focus on the positive. That's one of the failings of human beings. I don't know why it's like that. It's been speculated and researched for a while, but that negative event lasts on you for so long. So we naturally want to murmur and complain. And no matter how many times the Lord brings us through and we make it through, we tend to get very nervous, impatient. We lose faith. I'm out here, I'm looking for a job. Come on, man. I'm down to my last $50 in the bank. Where you at? I need you to come through. And the scripture says he would not put on you, he said, more than you could bear. It said, he's not going to tempt you more than you could bear, but will with the temptation make a way for you to escape that you may be able to bear it. Oftentimes we don't like the escape plan. We don't like the escape route. So we're like, wait a minute, I have to work at McDonald's for a little bit before I can really, yeah, work at McDonald's, man. Nah, I can't do that. You know,
Where
um,
do we get that from though, Mike? I mean,
because we
where
don't
did
got.
this where do we get this mentality from
Well,
that
it's
we just want to skip? Nobody, it's like so many people don't want to go through the process and they just want to skip the process. Everything needs to be right here, right now. And then we've got this mentality that we're too good. We're too good. I'm too good to start at the bottom. And you may not even be skilled, but I'm too good to start at the bottom. You
yeah.
ain't worked, had no experience, but I'm too good to start at the bottom. Like, where do we get that from?
Well, it's just ingrained in us. A person want to lose weight, and they say, "Man, if I could skip not eating pizza and everything and ho hos and ring dings and Twinkies, so I could just lose weight." But the work is you have to um, you have to give up something to get something. You have to sacrifice before you could gain. That sacrifice is hard. The people in the wilderness, they did murmur and complain. They said, "Man, even though we were slaves, we had it better with Pharaoh. Again, we had three hots and a cot. Man, we out here in the wilderness. This man out here trying to catch some locusts and some honey. Man, I mean, at least he gave us some scraps. Man, we had like chitlins and hog maws. I mean, we had something out here, man. We out here trying to eat some wild grass. I ain't no herbivore. I'm a carnivore. I need some meat. Just things. But on a day of MLK, I will say this, and I think it's a great quote. He says, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. That's the true measure of a man. Anybody could talk about it, but it takes a real strong individual to be about it. So where did that come from? Chicken or the egg, Angelina? Which one came first? Chicken or the egg?
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's crazy that you would say that because I just said that to somebody else. That it's about which came first, the chicken or the egg, and then the question is, does it really matter? They're
right.
both here,
They're here now. So we got to deal with it.
so we got to
You know,
deal with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Small
sorry, Dion, were you
meal.
about to say something?
No,
Yeah.
I was just agreeing, right?
Oh,
Right. But
So I think I go ahead, Mother Dion.
Mother Dion, don't be putting no mothers on me, okay? I was gonna say, and you're so right. It doesn't matter the chicken or the egg. But I think what we do too, Michael and Angelina, is we blame God for a lot of stuff. We want to make God
Sure.
responsible for every little thing in our lives when we don't recognize that we have the power to overcome. It was such a hindrance, and it's such a derailing. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is a distraction when we try to make God responsible for everything, when in fact, we need to understand what our limitations are and what we have the power within ourselves to do. We need to retrain that whole mindset and that whole way of thinking. I like to use the word unbecome. We have to unbecome so that we can become something, right? Because something that we're used to doing, we have to unbecome that in order to allow ourselves to receive something else from God so that we can do something different. So it's easier to box with God and say, okay, God, let's get in this ring and box it out, when we know ultimately he's going to win every time because it's God's way or the highway. So we need to take our lives back, people. Take your life back. I know that's a hard thing to do, like you said, losing weight and everything else. Just take your life back. Decide that you're tired of going around that mulberry bush and get your life back. Nothing's wrong with locusts and honey. It's a meal. You got protein and you got something sweet. Um, we have to start making those things that are not as though they are so that we can see the goodness in it. Because let me tell you, McDonald's have insurance. They even have a decent wage. They pay above the regular wage. A lot of jobs you go in, even in corporate America, and they only want to pay you $12.50 an hour when McDonald's paying you $11.50. So what's the difference? You flip some burgers for a while till you go get an education or whatever. McDonald's even pay for you to go to school. So we got it so backwards in our way of thinking. We
and
just
their food is good.
yeah, we just have to come to 2021. We wanted to get rid of 2020. It's gone. Now 2021, those of y'all that don't have a job, McDonald's is hiring. I saw a sign over here on my side of the woods. They hiring. Go get you a job so you can keep your apartment and your car note.
Well,
Go get that job.
I would like to jump in, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I will say this. I do feel like God is responsible for all. And I mean that in more of a positive way. I blame God for my situation, right? And he was responsible for it because he set me back so I could get set up for a comeback for something greater. So sometimes when we lose stuff for the Lord take it away from us, instead of us, murmuring, complaining, man, why'd you do that? Man, he's trying to set you up for something better. But in order for you to receive better, you got to let go of something lesser. But we
Yeah.
don't see it like that. Just let it go. And I know it's a cliche where we say let go and let God. If we really can get to that point where whatever happens, it is the will, I'm going to believe God is going to bring me through. I mean, how many times? I mean, I am, what am I, 40? I'm 40. And, in my 40 years, the Lord has delivered me
Uh-oh,
so
somebody
many
sound like
times.
they lying.
But I
I
mean,
mean, that he looks younger than me, huh? Yeah. Go
Yeah.
right ahead. We listening.
but you would think after all the many years where he showed us, I got you, I got you, I got you. It's just we get very afraid and we lose faith in him. And the same God that delivered you the last 40, 50 times, it's the same one that's gonna deliver you 41 and 51 times. But you gotta trust him and give him time. No matter how long it takes, he's a God you can't hurry. He be there, you don't have to worry. He may not
Oh
come
my
when you
God.
want
Oh
him.
my goodness.
Woo! You
Oh,
about to
people,
tell
we got
somebody.
singing on here tonight. That's what I'm talking about.
But that
I
song
don't
said you
know that song.
you can't hurry God. You just have to
He
wait.
made that one up.
No, you got to trust him given time, no matter how long it takes. He's a God you can't hurry. He'll be there. You don't have to worry. He
Who's the
may not
artist?
come. I don't know. It was back in the day. My mom used to play. I don't know. Blind Boys of Alabama,
Well,
Mighty
Now
Clouds
the
of
blind
let's
Joy.
boys
leave
of
those vocals
Alabama.
back in the day.
We done dug deep. We done dug deep with the blind boys.
Hey,
Okay.
I think that was on
Can
8 track.
you bring that to 2021? Can you put a little spin or rap on it or something?
They said more
It's
like
the
crying.
same.
You sound like that cat.
That-
That cat.
Look,
All
Oh
right,
my
Mike, I'll leave you
God.
alone.
nah, they ain't even ready. Back in
Michael,
the
stop
day,
boxing with God on that singing,
nah.
okay? Stop boxing with God on that
Back in the
singing,
day, New
brother.
Edition
Stay in
wanted
your
me to
lane.
join, but I was I,
Stay in
I
your
was on
lane.
something else. I'm
Stay in your
good.
lane.
Yeah.
God saved you from that mess though that they had to go through.
Right. See what I'm saying? At the time, I'm upset, but now I'm like, I see. I could have been Bobby.
Well, Mike, I want to say something because I hear what you're saying, and I think it's kind of like two sides to this
Yeah.
because there are times where God withholds,
Yes.
right? Because that's what he did to the children in the wilderness. He withheld and he let them stay out there for 40 years because they were ungrateful,
Yeah.
murmuring and complaining, wanting to go back, not listening, not obeying, just giving him a hard time. So he held back and he said, okay, y'all want to act like that? And y'all don't want to get to what the goodness that I have for you, then y'all could just kind of stay here and I'll just wait for the new generation and work with them, right?
Sure.
And so sometimes I believe that God does hold back and he we end up having to have some setbacks or some life interruptions. But there are times where we have setbacks and they don't have nothing to do with God.
Right.
And God did not cause that because
That's right.
God gives us our own will to
There
make
you go.
decisions
There you go.
and do
There
what
you
we
go.
want to do. He puts before us life or death. You choose which one you're gonna choose this day, right? And so we make a choice.
There
And
you go.
he gives us the ability to make a decision. And I like to tell people, and I think I've said it on here before, God is not up in heaven as a puppeteer with these strings that he is directing our every move in our every thought and our every decision that we make. He's given us will. He puts things in front of us to make a decision, right? And then you make a decision. And sometimes your decision is the wrong decision. But then God says, okay, well, I'm gonna let you sit in that. You're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna have to suffer the consequences,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not on God because that's the path that you chose. Now you could choose which way to go, but you can't choose your consequences. And so God, again, he's not a puppeteer up there, and he's allow you. You made your decision, you chose the bed. Now you have to lie in it.
That's
So I think
right.
there are times where God withholds, and then sometimes I just think God lets it unfold.
That's right. I
Sure.
Right.
I'm
agree.
not
I
gonna.
agree
I
with
don't want
that.
to. What I don't want to do for me is get into philosophical because people are believing what they want to believe. What I'm saying is, did he not know you was going to make that decision? Did he not know? No, no, no. I'm saying, did he not know that Judas was going to betray him? Sure, he did. But he said, but for so that the scripture may be fulfilled. So he already knew who was going to betray him. He knew how he was going to betray him, but he still allowed it to happen so the scripture could be fulfilled that he was going to die and be raised up in the third day. So I'm saying, even if you make a misstep, even if you make a stumble, God is still right there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Right.
we cause
He's
a,
gonna
we cause a
he's gonna
lot
use
of
it for
this.
your good. He's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
gonna
that's what
use
I'm
it
saying.
for your good.
He can use you as the ultimate testimony by saying, it's nothing like someone who's and God help them, been on drugs, alcohol, strung out, and said, "Man, I was out there by their own volition, by their own free will. But once they really, really get past it, boy, that testimony is so strong. And you know what people who were addicts usually, some of them usually do, they come back. And people like you and I who may not have never been an addict, we can't even work in the drug population like at outpatient homes because they want them to be previous addicts because they know what it's like to go through it. So I'm saying, even though it was negative, look how he turned it around positive. That's what I'm saying. If you just could hold on, if you could just believe. So I'm saying through it all, he is the mastermind. He knows every move. You say don't box with God. I know wise men that say don't play checkers. While you playing checkers, he playing chess. He already done saw every move you finna make, and he know the counter move, but he gonna let you make that move. So I'm saying, but through it all, he ultimately got the final decision, whether you walk in there or not. He said he gonna make a way for you to escape. So it's right there. Now the choice is, are you gonna walk in it? Nah, I'm not gonna work at McDonald's. That was your choice. They're gonna give you another opportunity. All right. How about Burger King?
Mhm.
Nah, I'm not going from a clown to a king. Okay. Well, how about the little redhead girl? How about Wendy's? Nah, I ain't finna work for her either. Okay, Yo Quiero Taco Bell. Will you work for the Chihuahua? Come on. You know, there's opportunity. So that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, if you believe it, and you really have faith in him, he will. He said he's able to help you if you will ever be true. Be true to something. Be true to him. He got you. That's what I'm saying. So don't try to figure out why he doing it, because the ways of God, the workings of God are way past finding out. Who knows why God do what he do? I've heard many prophets say they do, but really, who knows? Who really knows the mind of the Lord? He said, who have known the mind of the Lord and who can be his counselor? Who?
No one.
Nobody. So I don't know why he doing it. I just know what he promised. If you have faith and believe in me, I can bring you through. That's what I know. That's what I live by. So I've lost faith before. I've been shaky. I've charged him foolishly. I've been upset with him. It didn't change the fact that he didn't love me. He just waited for me to stop being stupid. And
How
when
did
I,
you change that around?
how did I
How did
turn?
you turn that around?
Well, it's kind of like the prodigal son. When you get tired and destitute, and you don't spend all you had, you don't tried everything, and you like this ain't working, and then your mind say you know you got to come back. Oh, but I'm so embarrassed. Oh, I was so mad. Come on back, humble yourself, and that what we said. Humble yourself, return unto yourself, and come back home. And you know what? There's a beautiful story called the old apple tree. And I think I told y'all where the man left was rude to his mom now. And he was on the train, and when he got off, he didn't know if his mom would accept him. And the old apple tree was in full bloom with white rags tied around it. God is always telling you to come home. You can always come home. No matter how long you roam, no matter what you've done. If you would just repent and return, he will accept you. He will. He's promised that. I'm not saying don't use him like, well, whatever. I'm a kill somebody, he'll accept me. Then tomorrow I'm gonna rob a bank. No, don't be foolish, but be wise. That's what I'm saying. When I got tired of my predicament, I came to myself and said, look, I know where my treasure is. My treasure is the Lord God Almighty. I'm gonna return to him. I'm gonna humble myself. And I did. I can't do this without you.
Dion, did you ever have a time where your faith was wavering?
I mean, yeah, we all done walked through that, sure. I remember, yeah, one time maybe, especially, it's been a long time though. When I think I first got saved, but I had a moment there. I was believing God for my ex-husband that God was going to restore the relationship, and when God didn't, I think I was, even though I had left, I think I was a little devastated because I couldn't understand why God didn't want to restore. I thought that he was a restoring type of God. And then only to recognize, later on that it wasn't meant for him to restore that because he had something else in mind for me. But since then, I might have been about 22. Um, but since then, I've been on this thing with God, me and God. that I just trust him with everything now. Have I had, if you ask me if I've made some bad decisions and as a result of it, I paid the price for some of the bad decisions that I've made. Yeah, I had a lot of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, but did I blame God for it? No.
Mm-mm.
My faith wasn't wavered, but you still go through the emotion of it all. You know, you still go through the disappointment of in yourself, maybe more so than God, because you let yourself down and let yourself think some things that you shouldn't be thinking or feeling some ways you shouldn't be feeling. But I think since I kind of set my face like Flint and decided I was going to walk, the straight and narrow as an adult, um, 30 and up, I think that me and God been pretty much on an even keel. I trust his word. I stand on his promises. Now, do sometimes me and God disagree? Yeah, but then he gently loves me and brings me back to the place that I need to be. I was just telling Angelina the other night, I was in the store and I was having a little woe is me moment. I had just given a testimony about how last year, this time on MLK, I was in the hospital. They escorted me to the hospital. I had coronavirus and they didn't know that I had coronavirus. At the time, I had double pneumonia. And when I got to the hospital, when I was driving in the ambulance driver was talking to the hospital, and they was like, "Well, how's Miss Coates doing?" It was like she's doing remarkably well. She's talking and laughing. I guess they thought I was, supposed to be on the brink of death with double pneumonia and corona, and they was like, "No, she's talking and laughing. She's doing fine." And he said, "Well, Miss Coates, how you feeling?" I said, "I feel fine." And I did. I really did. I felt fine. I wasn't upset with God. I wasn't mad at God. I knew beyond anything that God was going to see me through it. And of course, he did, because they didn't have that much information as they do today about COVID. And I was telling Angelina, I was doing great. And I was thinking, how good God is. I'm alive. And they didn't have that as much information. I could have drowned in, with pneumonia, you can drown in your own fluids. So I said, when I got to the store, I started crying because it was like, even though God had delivered me out of that, my flesh was like, my back hurt, my sinuses is bothering me, my this and that. So you start reverting back to and pulling other things. I said, here I am in the middle of the store feeling melancholy and crying, even after I had just given God thanksgiving for keeping me alive. So we a fickle generation, a
Mhm.
fickle kind of people.
Yes.
We start having our little own pity parties. It's nothing but a distraction, let me tell you, to keep you away from what it is that God is bringing you to. And I had to shake that thing off of me, but it's amazing how the mind plays those deceptive games with you, and you just got to keep on remembering who we serve. And we serve an almighty God, that does great and mighty things. Even like today, when we think about losing Pastor Mike, and we like, Lord, no, not this one, not one of your giants. But you know what? He knows best. He knows what's supposed to happen and why it was supposed to happen that way. We might not ever get the answer to why, but we have to accept the fact that he's still God. He's still ruling and reigning, and it's still ultimately his decision. We're appointed two things in life, people: one to live and one to die. We everything in between
Yeah.
is mercy and grace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try not to box with God too much. I try not to. I stay away from that as much as I can because he's gonna win. So I expect him to. So that's my prayer. God, let me hear it the way you hear it. Let me see it the way you see it, and let me speak it the way you speak it. So if I stay in connected with that, in tune with that, then me and God gonna be all right.
Damn, I have that same prayer every day.
Remember, we prayed it together. Remember?
Yeah, I made it a family affirmation that we do every morning. Every morning. But yeah, I just want to say, when we talk about don't box with God, don't, God is stronger. He's higher than any other, right? It's his ultimate plan. He's going to get what he wants. period. You can make all the wrong decisions you want to. You'll be like Jonah in that well, right? And then God's still gonna get his way because you're still gonna end up going where he told you to go. And I have to think about myself in that situation. When I'm here listening to you all talk about your times where your faith may have wavered, I think I had a lot of wavering faith growing up, and even in my 20s and stuff, because I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't really know God. Like, I don't know which one of you said it earlier when we started talking about, um, it was just a formality for me to go to church. It was a formality, for me to do whatever they do, stand up and pray, bow down and pray, sing the song, do whatever. But in those formalities, I did learn some things. I did learn some biblical things, but I didn't really truly have a relationship with God. I don't think I really truly understood the things that were being taught to me, like the pieces of the puzzle weren't coming together. So there were times I questioned, is there even really a God? Right? Because I had not had my own encounter with God. We got to have our own encounter with God to really, really understand and truly understand and know that He is God, and what it is that He wants you to do and where He wants you to go, so that you can really hear His voice. And I didn't have that. I didn't really have a true encounter with Him until I needed Him, right? When I really needed Him. And now I'm saying, okay, if there's really a God, I need you to give me strength, and I need you to show me this silver lining. I need you to get me through whatever it is I'm getting you through. And then He got me through. He got me through. And then it was like, wait a minute. He got me through. Like, He heard me. He was listening to me. He heard my prayer, right? And so now I've had, this encounter with God, and I have this relationship with Him, and I see Him differently. And I understand Him differently. And I feel Him differently than I ever had before. But I had to put myself in a position to have that encounter with God. Now, what I had been taught all those years set the foundation for me to have that encounter. It just was, I had to go through some things before I really had the encounter to really understand and know, girl, God been with you all this time. Girl, He was talking to you when you had your insomnia, and when you was 6 and 7 and 8 years old in the middle of the night with insomnia, laying there, and you hearing and having all these visions, and you're hearing, you having all these thoughts. That was God. That was God talking to you. That was God leading you to where He wanted to get you. And you made some wrong decisions. But at the end of the day, God's like, I want you over here. This is what I want you to do. So He kept putting things in place to get me. And I think people, you have to understand that it's about God's plan. You can try your plan. I tried my plan. Jonah tried his. It's about God's plan, right? And you can keep going the other way if you want to, right? And you're going eventually you're just going to end up back where God wanted you to. And if you don't want to do it, then guess what? God going to find somebody else.
Yes, He will.
He will find somebody else. And it may not be you. It might end up being your children or your grandchildren, or He might just say, all right, I'm just moving on to over here. But God's going to get what He wants. He's undefeated. I think I put in the advertisement, like, God is infinity, the enemy zero. He's undefeated. And we've got to get to a point of understanding that God has your back. God is going to take care of you. God is the ultimate warrior. He's the ultimate conqueror. He's the ultimate promise keeper, right? He said He was going to take care of you. He was going to lead you to the promised land. And we've got to believe. We have got to believe in our heart of hearts that He's going to take care of you. So for those who are worrying, for those who are fretting, for those who are afraid, you have to know that whatever God has for you is for you. And there is absolutely nothing anyone or the enemy can do to keep what God has for you from getting to you. I hope y'all can understand that. But you just have to put yourself in a position Position yourself to have an encounter with God and allow God to show you who He really is. All right. We have to start recognizing the things that He does for us. I do want to shift the conversation just a little bit before we end up ending and talk about recognizing when God has shown up. I think sometimes we don't recognize when He's shown up. And it always takes me back to a story back in before we had social media and the internet, and all we had was emails. And remember, you people always send these email chains and these stories through email. And I'll never forget the story. And I'm gonna say it wrong, of course, because I ain't gonna remember it. But somebody was there was a guy stranded out to sea, and he was praying for God to come and save him. And God sends a sailboat, and he's like, "No, thank you, I'm waiting on God." So then a ship comes by, and he's like, "No, thank you, I'm waiting on God." And then a helicopter comes to save him. He's like, "No, that's okay, I'm waiting on God." When all those times, that was God. Can we talk about that a little bit? Not recognizing the blessing, like
Mm.
not recognizing His deliverance, not seeing that He is ever so present, and you just don't see it. Can we talk about that before we end this conversation a little bit?
Absolutely.
How do we miss the blessing? How do we miss the blessing?
Because we're looking for it a different way instead of the way God sent it to us. I remember one time I had told God, after my first marriage, I said, "Okay, Lord, you don't have to send me a man. If you can't send him 7 feet, fine, know how to wear a suit, smell good, in a career, don't send him. I'll just be single for the rest of my life." So when my husband came along, I thought, okay, he's a nice guy. He'll be a good friend. Cool. He all right. He's short. I liked him dark anyway. He was dark. He set that bill. He smelled good. And the boy could wear a suit. Okay. But he just wasn't tall enough. And I didn't think he was handsome enough for me because I was looking for something else. And then I heard the Holy Spirit. I said, okay, he's going to be a good friend. And I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, well, okay, then if he can only be your friend, then this is going to be the last opportunity you'll have for a mate. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Hold up. What do you mean, my last opportunity? So a lot of times we don't recognize when God sends something our way, He's sending us His best. So when He sends us the opportunity, and then we choose another way and it fails, then we want to blame God because it's like, God, you sent it to me. No, I didn't. I sent John Doe over here. You went after Steve. But that's what I sent you, but you didn't want that. It wasn't cute enough or whatever. He had all the other attributes, but just because he wasn't 7 foot tall and cute. And one thing I think, Angelina, that we talk about a lot of times, we want God to send us something that we're not. Or we want God to do something that we're incapable of doing or that we really don't deserve because we haven't really showed him that we're deserving of it. So we want all God's goodies, but we don't want to do nothing for it and don't recognize that when he show up and he gives us his best and we reject it, he's not gonna keep on showing up and say, okay, here, well, here. This is what you really wanted. Here, I'm gonna make it great for you. No, we have to grow up and learn how to be respectful to God and understand God's gifts when they come along, even if it don't look like what we want it to look like.
Yeah. I go back a little bit where Burger King, I call it this is, the Burger King blessing. Well, back in the day, Burger King had a commercial said, have it your way.
Have it your way.
Yeah, you can have it your, and oftentimes that's what we want. We want it my way. I'm a dial up, and what you was describing, you dialed it up. This is what you want, being specific, instead of giving the Lord room to just do what He know what's best for you. Yeah, that pretty man or that handsome man, that's all good. He looks good, arm candy, walk around the mall. But that little short, dark skinned man who may not be the cutest, may be the most loyal, dedicated, will treat you like the queen that you are. So the Lord ultimately knows what you need. So why do we do it? Why do we do that? It's just our nature. I mean, murmuring, complaining unfortunately, it's part of our nature.
Selfish.
Even when the Lord gives us sometimes what we want, we'll find a fault with it. You know,
Mhm.
Lord, I want a house. All right, well, here's a house.
Here's
Man, I should have
one.
asked the Lord for a hot tub. You know, man, he get. You know, it's like, what more can he do? And
Right,
I
right.
was thinking about that, and there, Angelina, you were saying so much that I had so many thoughts, and as you get older, you can't compartmentalize all of them. But I was thinking about Isaiah 45:1. If you read the whole chapter, it really talks about all the things that the Lord does. But verse 7 is kind of what I was alluding to, and it says, "I form the light and I create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things." So, whatever, he even made Satan, he made all of this. So, when you said, your plan won't work, here's the beauty of it: you really ain't got no plan. It's the Lord's plan. And we're really just doing what he's just watching us do our thing.
Yeah.
And he already knows what you need, but he will let you scurry around. Like, it's almost like the people in the wilderness, that was only supposed to be 40 days. It turned into 40 years.
40 years.
It's like Gilligan's Island. They were
Right.
supposed to go out on a 3-hour
Look
tour.
at
They
you talking
they were
about
there for
Gilligan's
20
Island on
hours,
a
20
3-hour
years.
tour.
Yeah, because you can delay your blessing
Yes.
by continuing to go bumping your head. He said, "It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks." It's hard for you to go against me. Like you said, I'm infinity, you're zero. But until you learn it, keep kicking.
What you say?
All you
Keep kicking.
Yeah, all you gonna wind
You
up is
you
some
still
hammer
zero.
toes
You
and
still a
corns.
zero, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. You're gonna need an orthopedic. You keep kicking against the pricks. That's all. So I'm saying, ultimately, he's in total control. It's just once you realize it and really let go of trying to fight him, you just do the best that you could do. Believe and have faith. And it's hard. Oh, we was talking about that. Oh, the reason why? Because it's so easy to have faith in God when everything's going your way. Oh yeah. You'll be the loudest shouter, the greatest top hair, but let him blow upon it, because he could blow upon it negatively or positively. Let him blow upon it and you lose that job. All of a sudden, you went from, "Oh, the Lord is so magnificent," to, "I don't even know if there's a God." Oh, yeah.
Woe is me.
Yeah, the same God that made you rich could be the same God that caused you to be poor and humble and destitute, for you to start over and take him all the way. Because oftentimes when we get to a certain point, unfortunately, when we get to this great point of I'm all this, we tend to start forgetting about him. Don't forget about him. Don't forget. Don't use him as a spare tire. No, no,
Mm.
he ain't no spare tire.
Yeah, it bothers me when people get to a certain point and they're like, you
I did
know,
this.
one oh,
Yeah,
those, I did this, like
I did
that,
this.
I did this.
Yeah,
I can't. It bothers me because I'm like, no, you didn't
right.
do this. You didn't do that all by yourself. You didn't get where you were all by yourself. God sent people. God sent people in your life to help you. God sent people in your life to guide you, to deliver you, to give you information to help prepare you. And so again, we're not recognizing the blessing, and we're not recognizing that God works through people. And that person that came along when you was destitute and they gave you a kind word, that was God. When you didn't have no money and somebody put some money in your hand, that was God. When you didn't have a way to work and somebody was taking you to work and then wasn't asking you for anything, that was God. And so we start to miss the blessing and we start to miss God and the things that are happening. And we just get so stuck into the life interruptions. I call them life interruptions. Okay,
Yeah.
and we don't know how to handle those, and those are the things that we need to start healing so we can be able to cope and deal with life interruptions in a positive way, right? In a positive way, not in a unhealthy manner, because they're just, when we can really begin to understand that the things that we go through are here to test us, it's here to prepare us, it's here to help take us to the next level, it's here to strengthen us, right? We have to start looking at our life interruptions differently. We have to start looking at them differently. So that's all. Those my thoughts.
Yeah.
Well,
God is
well,
undefeated. He's undefeated. He is undefeated.
yes,
You can't blame him. We got to stop blaming him for the things that
yes,
is not him. And you know daggone well it was you. You know why you got fired from that job.
that's
Sure.
right,
You know why. You know why he or she left you.
right,
Yeah.
You
that's right.
Because they
know
were stupid. Yeah.
you know. And then we want to say, well, where is God? He ain't showing up. Yes, he been showing up, but you don't listen.
You don't listen.
You ain't listening.
Because when
Yeah.
God tell you to go to work early and you're getting there 5 minutes late, and He said wake up 10 minutes early so you can get there 5 minutes early, and you stay in bed them 10 minutes, and you know it's gonna cause you to be late, and they tell you here your walking papers because you'd have been late 99 times out of in 90 days. You've been late 90 days. You already know going in what's going on. We like to, that's how I said we like to blame God for stuff that God ain't even have no part in. We want
Dion,
to.
I love you. I love you so much. Your your math was just unbelievable. Dion, you said you gonna be late 99 times out of 90 days.
90
Woo, you
days to be,
you
yeah,
late.
because you come, look, you
Girl, you
come back
late.
late for lunch, you come back late for
Oh, good
getting to
one.
work, come back
Good
late
one.
from your break. You done been late 99 times in 90 days. Okay.
Woo.
And that
Girl.
was and
Oh
that was your
God.
first, that was your first 90 days. That was your trial period.
Oh my God. Dion, you
But
are too much.
I know you want somebody to have some mercy and grace, especially God. And God, like, yeah, I did. I told them to hire you.
Right.
That's why they hired you, because they fired you from the last job from being late. So we just need to figure it out, folks. We got a lot more control than we realize, and then we want to box with God when we don't step up to the plate and do what we're supposed to do. There's an art to this all. We have a responsibility to do the right thing. And even if you don't believe God, if you have some other God you're believing in or what have you, we have moral rights and things that we need to do just to be moral human beings and do the right thing so that goodness can come our way. There are principles in the Bible. You don't have to be saved to honor a principle, and a principle works for you. You just
Yeah.
have to honor it and do it. God is a merciful and gracious God. He'll let y'all that don't believe in him enjoy some of the benefits. Given it shall be given unto you. So just think about that next time when you either want to blame God or your surroundings or whatever. Take some sole responsibility for some of the things that you've done in this life, and allow yourself to be healed from some of those things that you keep on going around in that mulberry bush experience, and say, wait, hold up. Let's stop the madness. Why do I keep on going around this mulberry bush? And you'll realize a lot of times it's you. It's the thing that you believe in. Sometimes if we just think something different, something great will happen.
Yeah. That's true.
All right. So we are at the top of the hour, you all. This has been good. My parting words is look, get on the winning team.
Yes.
Get on the winning team.
Yes.
God is the winning team.
Yes.
And we need to start tapping more into God, right?
Yes.
Undefeated.
Yes.
He's the ultimate power. And sometimes we're just running and running in our own strength. And we're wearing ourselves out when it's not within our capacity to handle. Turn it over to God. I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but we've got to really learn how to let go, turn it over to God, let God handle this thing, right? What did I say? I don't think it was last week or the week before. There's the things that the hard things, the Pharaoh things that we need God. Then there's the Goliath things where God has already given us everything we need. We got to start learning the difference. We got to start learning the difference between what it is that I'm supposed to handle because God what I gave me what I need to handle it. And then we have to recognize when I need to just turn this over to God. Let go. Let him handle it. Let him work it out because he always comes through. He comes through. You got to remember that. When has he left you destitute? When has he not come through? I think about, and I'm gonna say this. I said those were supposed to be my parting words, but I had to say this because I was talking about this earlier. And so I had a coworker that was worried about losing her job. And we got to talking, and I'm struggling, wondering, like, why is she so fearful? Like, what you did does not warrant you to lose, for them to just fire you, and you're a good employee. Why doesn't she see how good she is? Why doesn't she see how talented she is, and the knowledge in that she brings to this job? Like, why doesn't she see what I see? Right. And so we get to talking, and it all boiled down to that she had worked for an employer for 19 years and um, was laid off. And so that was something, a life interruption that she had to deal with. And she brought that pain and grief of being let go to the new job, and always, fearful that they may let me go too. And my words to her was, well, you got to let folk go from that job, but did he not give you this job? Well, yeah. So if they let you go here, you don't think he's going to give you another job? Like, he's going to take care of you. Like, he's going to take care of you. You just got to know, if he did it before, he'll do it again. He's not going to do it for you one time and not do it for you again. Right? Because he kept letting, trying to get Israel, no matter, even though they was murmuring, complaining, and being disobedient, he was trying to get them to that promised land. And he kept helping them defeat enemy after enemy after enemy. He let them defeat them. He didn't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna let you defeat them once." No, he kept enemy after enemy after enemy. So we have to know that God is on our side. We have to know that he's going to take care of us. And so, okay, I'm off my soapbox now. Any party words, Michael and Dion?
Oh yeah, real quick. Mike Tyson defeated 99% of his opponents before they even started the match because they already knew they couldn't beat him. My thing is, recognize that why would you even want to box with God? You won't beat him. You all on the same team. Like you said, get on his team. Don't box with the Lord. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win.
And just want to say in parting, you teach who you are. And one of Pastor Mike's favorite words is that right, y'all? So just to say, peace, Pastor Mike. Is that right, y'all?
Is
So
that
if you,
right, y'all?
is that right, y'all? Is that right, y'all? So if you don't like what you teach, and teach something different, adapt a different way of doing things. Y'all have a great night. I
Yeah.
speak peace to you all. Overflow family. I want to say we're crying tonight, but we'll be singing pray high praises tomorrow. Know that God allowed what happened to happen today. We don't understand it, but trust that whatever He's doing up there is bigger than what we think or can even imagine. And let's just trust God with it. Go in peace and grace, and know that we love you.
Be unbothered. All right, you all. We'll see you next Monday. Have a
All
good one.
right.